contents are confidential and are the sole property of Proprio and should only be used for its intended purpose. Any copy, photography, recording, disclosure, or distribution in whole or in part in any manner is expressly prohibited without the prior written consent of Proprio. Do you know what is the role of an interpreter? The interpreter role is of a conduit. It means to be the bridge of communication between parties in a conversation. We are simply a tool, and all we do is to interpret the information given. Like a bridge, we are the mean by which the exchange is happening. We are not policing the bridge, we are the conduit for communication, and anything and everything that is said must go through. No matter what we hear. Some unexperienced interpreters act as bulldozers and take over the conversation and manage it as they please. Some others act as walls. For one reason or another, they don't render the entire message. And then we have filters, interpreters that believe they know how to help better and filter messages to aid the listener for understanding. We are no one to do so, and our job is not to ensure understanding but to ensure everything is interpreted properly. If we do a good job interpreting, all the parties can figure any issue out. There are 6 characteristics that stand out from successful interpreters. Being passionate with the profession and eager to help. Knowledgeable with terminology at hand and always striving to learn. Always ethical with their practices, people skills when dealing with different personalities, working well under pressure, and culturally diverse. Do you know what communicative autonomy is? It is the capacity of each party in an encounter to be responsible for and in control of their own communication. Interpreters support communicative autonomy. Therefore, the interpreter should not act as a filter. You are to be a faithful reporter of each message. Each party can then make decisions about what to say and what to do. Very well, in this example, who do you think has communicative autonomy? The patient, the interpreter, or the provider? The interpreter has no communicative autonomy. We are there just to interpret. The parties can say whatever they want, and we'll respect that. No exceptions. Professional interpreters are essential in bridging communication gaps between different languages. They must have strong linguistic skills, along with a profound awareness of cultural nuances and ethical standards. This combination guarantees that messages are conveyed accurately and with respect. Interpreters play a crucial role in facilitating communication and are required to follow a stringent code of ethics. This code emphasizes the importance of confidentiality, impartiality, and professionalism. Adhering to these principles is vital for establishing trust and ensuring effective communication between all parties involved. By honing these skills and principles, interpreters can deliver exceptional service and support across diverse settings. Like many professions, interpreting has its own code of ethics. This code is a set of principles that govern the conduct of members of a profession. These are the ethics we must abide by: accuracy and completeness, confidentiality, impartiality, role boundaries, cultural awareness, respect, professionalism, professional development, and advocacy. The Code of Ethics for Interpreters provides essential guidelines that govern their professional conduct across diverse settings. It is vital for interpreters to comprehend and follow these ethical principles to facilitate effective communication and uphold the integrity of their profession. Grasping the Code of Ethics is imperative for interpreters because it establishes trust with clients and stakeholders, improves the quality of interpretation services, safeguards the rights and dignity of every individual engaged in the communication process, and enhances the professional image of interpreters within the community. Our first ethic is accuracy and completeness. The interpreter strives to render the message accurately, conveying the content and spirit of the original message, taking into consideration its cultural context. Utilize both memory retention and note-taking to enhance accuracy. These skills can be developed through consistent practice and dedication. Effective note-taking focuses on capturing essential information. This practice not only improves information retention but also assists in structuring thoughts and ideas for a seamless presentation. Master the art of note-taking to ensure you are always ready to document important information. A systematic approach to note-taking can greatly improve your accuracy and overall performance. Often, answers to questions and explanations may be more extensive than anticipated. By equipping yourself with the appropriate tools, such as a notebook or a digital device, you can effectively capture all essential information without overlooking any critical details. Know your limitations. Practice and determine the amount of information you can retain without needing to ask for repetition. This approach will enhance your professionalism and preparedness, while also minimizing interruptions during discussions, resulting in a smoother communication flow. If the need arises, feel free to interrupt and intervene to stop the speaker for you to render the message. Do it right on time so you don't have to ask for a repetition. Remember, know your limits holding information so you don't bother often the speaker with repetitions. As a professional interpreter, it is crucial to convey every statement accurately, even if it contains offensive language or racist remarks. It is not your responsibility to omit or caution the other party regarding such comments. You must remain impartial and interpret the statements as they are delivered. This principle is non-negotiable for professional interpreters. You act as the voice for each party involved. Remember, your duty is to represent them, not yourself. We are not here for you, but for them. Remember, communicative autonomy is their own freedom of speech, and we will not censure anyone. Now let's remember the golden rule of interpreting. Interpret everything that is said, just as it is said. Add nothing. Omit nothing. Change nothing. Confidentiality. The interpreter must not disclose any private or proprietary information learned during the encounter. Interpreters are mandated by the Professional Code of Conduct, as well as applicable state and federal laws, to safeguard consumer privacy. Any information exchanged among all parties during the encounter must remain confidential and not be disclosed. There are regulations that impose civil and, in certain instances, criminal penalties for the unauthorized use or disclosure of confidential information. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, is a United States law established to set privacy standards that safeguard patients' medical records and other health information shared with health plans, doctors, hospitals, and various healthcare providers. HIPAA mandates the secure and confidential management of protected health information, PHI, to guarantee the security and privacy of patients' data. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, is a federal law in the United States that grants parents the right to access their children's educational records. Additionally, it empowers parents to request amendments to these records and to control the disclosure of personally identifiable information contained within them. FERPA mandates that educational institutions safeguard the privacy of student records and establishes a framework for parents to oversee their children's educational information. State laws play a crucial role in complementing federal regulations such as FERPA. For example, the New York State Education Law and the New York Parents' Bill of Rights offer additional protections and rights for parents and students. These state laws often include specific provisions that enhance the privacy and accessibility of educational records, thereby ensuring a comprehensive approach to the protection of student data. The Graham-Leach-Bliley, GLB Act, aims to ensure that financial institutions and their affiliates protect the confidentiality of personally identifiable information collected from customer records, regardless of whether this information is in paper, electronic, or other formats. Under the GLB Act, financial institutions are required to adopt measures that safeguard the privacy of their customers' data. This includes preventing unauthorized access and ensuring the overall security of sensitive information. When the client temporarily leaves the room, the interpreter will be placed on hold and should remain muted while waiting. Any conversation that occurs in the room between the LEP and someone who is not a provider is confidential and must not be disclosed to anyone, even after the provider returns. Interpreter's information is also confidential. If anyone asks you for personal questions that are not covered here, do not share any information. Appropriate use and disclosure of confidential information. Interpreters receive only the essential information needed to ensure effective communication between the parties involved. Interpreters are permitted to use and disclose protected health information solely for the purpose of delivering interpretation services, in accordance with confidentiality agreements, including business associate agreements, subcontractor agreements, and non-disclosure forms. By law, disclosing information outside the discussions among all parties involved in the interpreting encounter is strictly prohibited. Proper destruction and disposal of notes taken during an encounter. Whether taking notes electronically or on paper, these must be destroyed after the conclusion of each encounter. Acceptable paper records disposal methods are shredding, pulping, or pulverizing the records so that confidential information rendered is essentially unreadable, indecipherable, and otherwise cannot be reconstructed. If you are in a doctor's office, you could also tear your notes into tiny pieces and throw them into several different trash cans. Impartiality. The interpreter strives to maintain impartiality and refrains from counseling, advising, or projecting personal biases or beliefs. Refrain from taking sides. Avoid offering opinions or advice, even when requested to do so. Tone of voice and demeanor should reflect those of the speaker, not the ones of the interpreter. Role boundaries. The interpreter maintains the boundaries of the professional role, refraining from personal involvement. Limit your services to only facilitating communication. Refrain from engaging in other types of assistance or support, even when requested to do so by the service user or provider. Cultural awareness. The interpreter continuously strives to develop awareness of their own and other cultures encountered in the performance of their professional duties. Point out cultural differences. Do not explain them. Provide your explanation of a cultural difference or cultural misunderstanding. Only when such misunderstanding does not appear to be resolved by the parties themselves and is likely to jeopardize a service user's health or safety.
He was feeling sick, so I gave him a tecito.
He was feeling sick, so I gave him a hot tea. Doctor, this is the interpreter speaking. You may want to ask Mom what that tea was made of.
Mom, what was that tea made of?
Mom, what was that tea made of?
I made it with sage, mint, lemon, honey, and rue.
I made it with sage, mint, lemon, honey, and rue.
Rue? That's what is making your son sicker.
The interpreter is aware of the potential cultural misunderstanding. That's why she points out to what may become a bigger problem. Notice how the interpreter does not explain it herself. She redirects the provider to get an explanation from her patient. Remember this, interpreters are not here to explain anything, but to interpret either party's explanation. Respect. This ethic is quite straightforward. The interpreter treats all parties with respect. Show respect by giving every speaker the communicative autonomy to say anything they want. You should repeat it without second guessing. Professionalism. The interpreter's conduct should reflect the highest standards of the profession by showing adherence to professional ethics and best practices. As far as dress code goes for video remote interpreters, they must pay attention from the waist up. No blouses with thin straps showing too much cleavage or bright colors. Collared polos, or shirts, are ideal. No tank tops or shirts with large logos. Garments with large pictures or prints are not allowed. Body language is one of the most important aspects, since clients will be looking at you from time to time. This includes sitting in a correct and professional manner, good posture and hand gestures, and always facing the camera. Personal appearance. Makeup should be moderate. Hair, sideburns, mustaches, and beards must be neat and well-groomed. Jewelry should be moderate. Your piercing must be limited to 3 per year. Unacceptable body piercing include but are not limited to nose, tongue posts, eye rings or posts, lips rings. Tattoos should not be visible. Clients may ask about your qualifications as an interpreter. Never lie and correctly represent your knowledge. This course is ensuring you are a qualified interpreter to service our clients. Professional development. You should keep on trying to improve your knowledge and skills for interpretation. Trying to learn more as you go is to make sure your overall performance can also be positively affected. The interpreter seeks feedback to improve their work quality. The interpreter supports the professional development of fellow interpreters. Use resources such as building your go-to library, online courses / self-study materials. Remember, no one is a walking encyclopedia. Advocacy. When the patient's health, well-being, or dignity is at risk, the interpreter may be justified to act as an advocate. Advocacy is an action taken on behalf of an individual that goes beyond facilitating communication with the intention of supporting a good outcome. It should only be done when necessary. The interpreter may speak out to protect an individual from serious harm. The interpreter may advocate on behalf of a party or a group to correct mistreatment or abuse. Mom, I want you to be aware that Tommy has a severe allergy to penicillin.
1 week later.
We're just going to give Tommy a shot of penicillin.
We're just going to give Tommy a shot of penicillin. Okay, this is the interpreter speaking. Nurse, you may want to check Tommy's chart. Last week he was diagnosed with a severe penicillin allergy. The interpreter made a decision to inform the provider knowing that staying quiet would have caused serious consequences. The interpreter dashboard.
First, go to propio.com. Once in, please hover over the sign-in button and click on the interpreter portal link. You'll be taken to the single sign-on screen where you must enter the email or username you used during the onboarding process. Please click on Login once you've completed this field. The upper left corner of your screen displays your name and ID number. Below, you'll find the call history area where you'll see your calls and be able to search through your history by changing the days you wish to view. Your call status is by default, when you log in, will always be offline until you click on the Start Calls button. As you take calls, your dashboard will show you the number of them that you have serviced and the amount of minutes you've accrued. Now, it is very important for you to check your audio and video settings before you start taking calls. Click on the phone icon to test your audio first. Check that your input, output, and ringing settings are good. Do an echo test to make sure you can hear yourself properly. Now, click on the video setting button. Make sure that your camera turns on and that you are properly squared in your camera shot. Go ahead and test your microphone and speakers too. You are now ready to start taking calls. To do this, just click on the Start Calls button and accept the incoming call once your phone starts to ring.
Answering calls and data intake. Let's see now how to answer calls and collect data intake.
Automatically, after accepting the call, an intake window will pop open on your screen, letting you know the language the call is for and showing the client ID the call is linked to. The first thing you must do when you get this screen is to provide your greeting in English. Please read the greeting as it is on your screen. Avoid summarizing your greeting or omitting information from it. There is no need for you to provide your last name. Make sure to collect every single intake information that your screen requires. Also, make sure to ask for spellings and capitalize the first letter of the words being entered. There could be drop-down menus to make data entry easier for you. If you cannot locate the option provided, click on the Overwrite checkbox and go ahead and type the information provided. If for some reason the client refuses to provide information or does not know it, please use the refuse and unknown buttons on your screen. Once you've secured all of the intake information, please ask the client, "How may I assist you?" After obtaining the client's instructions, please greet the LEP using the greeting on your screen in the target language. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll find your phone dialer. If a client needs you to dial out a number for them, please use it to place the outbound call. The first thing you'll have to do if the client wants you to dial is to click on the Add Party button. You can type or punch the number that needs to be dialed. Once the number has been entered, hit the phone icon or press Enter on your keyboard. This will dial the number and conference all parties. You can disconnect each party that you've connected if the call has ended or needs to be ended. While on a call, you can save the intake info and come back to edit by clicking on the Edit Active Call button. Once the call is completed, you will not be able to edit it. Before the call finishes, please give the call a rating depending on how it went. Comments are allowed too. These are not mandatory, however, please leave one if you need to point out an issue that took place during the call. After you have serviced the call, please ask the client if your services are still required. If you are no longer needed, please provide your name and ID and disconnect from the call using the red disconnect button. Please be the one who disconnects first if your services are no longer required. Once the call has disconnected, the dashboard goes into a 15-second wrap-up stage. After a few seconds of being in this stage, you will be allowed to click Start Calls and bypass the remaining seconds or stop calls from ringing. If you wish to stop calls, let's say to take a break or finish for the day, please click on the Stop Calls button and make sure that your status goes offline. This way you will avoid missing calls. By default, your dashboard will only display the day you are on. If you wish to view calls from days, weeks, or months before, click on the tiny calendars and set the dates you want to view. Once you've selected a time frame to view, click the Go button.
Sometimes, the LEP might initiate the call. If that happens, you will notice that the two greetings have swapped places. Now, the LEP's greeting will be at the top, and the client's one at the bottom. You may find just the LEP on the line. If the greeting of the LEP doesn't go first, then it's because one of these things may have happened. The LEP got transferred to our line by mistake, or for some reason, the client got disconnected. In either case, we cannot help. Just tell the LEP that you are an interpreter and cannot connect them back. To please call back the number they had just called and hang up. Opening the call. Step 1. Read the introduction script in full, and please, do not omit anything. For example, "Good morning, my name is X, interpreter ID number 1234, and I will be your language interpreter. Please speak in clear short sentences so that I can interpret everything. Before we begin, I need to ask you a few questions. Remember to use a polite tone of voice from the moment you open the call until you close it. Make sure the others can perceive you're happy to help." Step 2. Collect the intake information. Ask each and every question. If the client refuses or does not know the answer, you may use the refused and unknown buttons. Make sure to capitalize the first letter of each word entered. Do not type everything in capital letters. Ask for spelling if needed. Do not leave any space between digits when typing a phone number. There will be some instances when you answer the call, and the intake questions will have been completed already. In this case, please do not ask those questions to the client again. If they're filled out, go directly to the next step and ask how you can help. Step 3. You can now ask, "How may I assist you?" Step 4. Remember to introduce yourself to the LEP in their language. Again, make sure to follow the script you see on screen. Do not omit anything. Closing the call. Before closing the call, go ahead and make sure your services are not needed anymore. Is there anything else that I can assist you with? Once they say no, please sign off using your name and ID. For example, Thank you for using our services. My name is X, ID number 1234. Have a beautiful day. Examples on how to open a call. The wrong way.
Hey there, it's Jane here, ID 1234. How can I help?
Hello, Jane. I'm calling from Network Medical Center, and I would like you to interpret for me today.
Oh, yes, but I have to ask some questions first, okay? I need your name, your department, and your location code.
Okay, this is John. Department is cardiology, location code 39.
Give me just one moment, okay? Yeah, give me just 1 moment. Yeah, I'm ready.
I have Mrs. Rodriguez here with me. Will you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello? Hello, ma'am, can you hear me? I will be your interpreter for today, okay, ma'am?
The right way.
Good morning, my name is Jane, interpreter ID number 1234, and I will be your Spanish interpreter. Please speak in clear, short sentences so that I can interpret everything. Before we begin, I need to ask you a few questions. May I know where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Network Medical Center.
Thank you. And may I have your first name, please?
Sure, my name is John.
Thank you, John. Lastly, if you could help me with the name of your department.
Cardiology.
Thank you so much. Now, how may I assist you?
I have Mrs. Rodriguez here with me. I'd like to know if she's having any pain right now.
Excellent. I will begin by introducing myself and then proceed with your question. Good morning, Mrs. Rodriguez. I will be your Spanish interpreter. Everything you say will remain confidential. Please speak in clear, short sentences so that I can interpret everything. Mrs. Rodriguez, are you having any pain right now?
Examples on how to close a call. The wrong way.
Okay, interpreter, I think we're done here. Thank you for your service.
Okay, so goodbye now.
The right way.
Is there anything else that I can assist you with?
Not for today. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for choosing our services. My name is Jane. ID number is 1234. Have a great rest of your day.
Video calls.
Let's go over video remote interpreting calls. You'll see a pop-up intake window once you accept the incoming VRI call. It's very similar to the over-the-phone interpreting intake screen. The only difference is that on the left-hand side, you'll see two different images. The upper image will display whatever your camera is pointing at, and the lower image will display whatever the client's camera is pointing at. The platform will automatically provide a blurred background. However, you must secure a solid background in case the virtual blur fails and enough lighting for you to be seen. After accepting the incoming VRI call, please read the greeting as it is on your screen. After you've read your greeting, advise the client or you will ask some questions before you continue. Proceed to collect the intake questions. Make sure to enter every field as requested. Once the intake has been collected, you can ask the client how you may assist them. The client will start providing instructions and information for you to render to the LEP. Make sure to greet the LEP first. Just read the greeting into the target language. After the call has been completed, please rate its quality.
Hi. In this quick video, we'll be going over critical information regarding video remote interpreting etiquette, so please pay close attention. Proper lighting. This is critical for a successful video session. No matter how good the camera is, proper lighting is essential for clear visuals. Indirect, natural lighting is the most ideal. Please be sure to routinely conduct self-video tests to make sure there is adequate lighting. If using a natural light source, please consider the time of day and how it may affect your appearance. Be sure to have a backup light source if necessary. Presenting yourself professionally. With video sessions, your appearance, posture, attire, and demeanor all play a vital role in the overall experience. Please make sure you present and carry yourself in a professional manner at all times. Avoid showing heavy logo or graphic shirts, overly revealing clothing, tattoos, excessive facial piercings, and anything that would distract the audience from the actual service being delivered. Auto blur feature. Propio's dashboard has an auto blur feature embedded in its platform. This feature provides a uniform presentation for all spoken language video interpreters and also alleviates the need for a physical backdrop. It is best practice, though, to have a professional setup readily available as a backup in case the feature becomes unavailable for any reason. Lighting and composition. Things to remember. Evaluate lighting. Make sure the lighting is even and there are no harsh shadows. Framing. Check that you are well framed and positioned correctly in the shot. Wired USB headset. Use a wired USB headset with noise cancellation for better sound quality. Test the microphone to ensure it is capturing clear audio without any background noise. Adjust the input levels to avoid distortion. Speak at your normal volume and check the audio levels. Thanks for watching.
Procedures.
Let's go over some additional yet very important information regarding call handling. Please pay close attention to special client instructions that may appear on your intake screen. These can include special hold times, scripts, and other call handling instructions. Interpreters are only allowed to hold for 15 minutes at a time when placed on hold. If a client asks you to please hold, remind them that the maximum amount of time you can hold is 15 minutes. Kindly ask them to come back and ask for more time before that time expires for the interpreter to hold longer. The client is the only party that can request the hold time to be extended. Please note that if you see a different instruction on your screen regarding hold times for a client, you must follow them. Camping is staying connected to a call intentionally to add minutes to your count, despite not providing any services. Examples of camping are remaining connected to a call even after being advised that your services are no longer needed, staying on hold for more than 15 minutes, staying connected longer than allowed when transferred to a different department, keeping a client or LAP waiting for a long time when placing third-party calls, or pretending to have tech issues and or muting yourself to add more minutes to your call. Please refrain from camping. Propio monitors these actions, and as a result of this behavior, interpreters can be terminated and have their profiles deactivated permanently. As a reminder, interpreters should not interrupt the session in progress. We expect the interpreter to finish the session if they are available and pick up the phone. You should disconnect only if the client states the services are not needed anymore and you are good to disconnect. If you are having any difficulties providing the services due to any reason, please ensure the client is aware. As we primarily handle medical-based assignments, we have strict contractual obligations to provide uninterrupted interpretation.
Interpreter, I'll be right back.
Of course, doctor. I would like to remind you that I can stay on hold for only 15 minutes. If you need more time, come in and let me know. I'll then wait another 15 minutes. Doctor, I'm going to inform your patient that I will be back on the line once you return.
Thanks, interpreter. Will do. Mr. Schmitz, this is your interpreter speaking. I'll be back with the doctor.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute my headset and disregard the LEP's comments as if I was not in the room. As soon as the provider returns, I'll be back on the line so I can interpret again. I should never talk to the LEP if there is no provider present.
Interpreter, Are you there? Hello? Hello?
If the client wants to give you a phone number to dial back in case the call disconnects, you should politely inform them that you cannot call back. The client will have to call back and get a new interpreter. Same case if the wrong language is chosen. You cannot transfer calls. Third-party dial-outs. Interpreter, I'd like to call a family.
Of course. May I please have the name and number you want me to dial? How would you like me to introduce you?
Mom's name is Jane, and her number is 555-246-1990. Tell her this is Mary from her daughter's school.
Thank you. And in case of no answer, would you like me to leave a message?
Yes, please.
What would the message be?
The message should be, this is Mary from your daughter's school. Please call me when you can. Thanks.
Absolutely. Let me place that call for you.
Hi, Andy again, this time to talk to you about the relationship that exists between Proprio and white label partners. The term white label is a catchword in the realm of interpreting. Basically, it means that an interpreting agency has a partner that does work for them and their clients under their brand name. Propio's language services are not only provided to their direct clients, but also to other language service companies. At that point, we represent them. Reason why is it's so important not to say the name of who we work for. We call this white label partnering. These language service companies want us to act as if we were part of their organization. This is how white labeling works in our industry. First, Company A markets the services. Then a client contracts interpretation services from Company A. Proprio white labels by offering services on behalf of Company A. And as a result, everyone involved gets more business. Let's look at how Proprio contractors should service white label calls. After accepting the incoming call and greeting the client, look for the client name and client ID on the top of the pop-up screen. If the client name and ID line reads, "Do not verify client name or ID," please refrain from confirming this information. Instead, go straight to collecting the intake information required by the client. If at some point during the call you're asked what company you're from, avoid saying you work for Proprio. Instead, advise them that you work for the provider they have contracted with for interpretation services. Thanks for watching and see you soon.
Let's see how to handle these situations.
I need to know for what company you work so I can put it in my notes.
Of course, doctor. I work for the language service provider your hospital has a contract with.
Can I have an email address to send a compliment for you?
That is lovely, doctor. At the end of the call, there is a quick one-question survey where you can leave your feedback.
Well, can you please at least tell me where you are located?
Doctor, for security and privacy purposes, we do not disclose our location.
Thank you, interpreter.
As you just saw in the last scenario, no information related to Proprio should be disclosed. If a client asks for your personal information, you may share your first name and interpreter ID. For court assignments, you might be asked for a last name, and that's okay. If the client needs any other information not related to the current session, you may refer them to the language service provider with which they have a contract.
Interpreters are allowed to dial international numbers. First, click on the Add Party Call button. Then enter the country code along with the phone number. Let's say, for example, that I was calling Mexico. Mexico's country code is 52. So I would type 52 plus the number provided. All you have to do next is just hit the enter key on your keyboard, and the phone call will be placed.
We will be facing different situations and scenarios. Once you realize a call belonged to a type, it will help you anticipate what may be coming next. All 911 calls are treated as an emergency until proved otherwise. When a 911 dispatcher answers a call, they follow the emergency fire and medical dispatch protocol system. Each protocol is carefully standardized, containing consistently partitioned information, which separates sections for key questions, dispatch determinants, response codes, additional information, and post-dispatch instructions. It is important to treat all the 911 calls with a unique and urgent manner. That means that this is an exception when there is no need to do a pre-session, collect the client's information, and do a full script introduction. It needs to be short and swift. Please remember that it could be a life and death situation. After you hear, "This is a 911 call" or 911, what is your emergency? You will know to skip the scripts and go right into, "Hello, I'm going to be your," add your language, interpreter. "How may I assist you?" You will then usually hear the dispatcher say, "911, what is your emergency?" Again, this would be an exception of a session where you do not go through the regular protocol. Your goal is to help the operator, EMT, to collect all the necessary information in a fast and accurate manner. In case of fire, the following questions will be asked. What is the address of the emergency? What is the telephone number you are calling from? What is your name? Tell me exactly what happened. Do you see any flames? No. Do you see or smell any smoke? Are you safe and out of danger? Can you get to safety? Yes, no. You will be provided with pre-arrival instructions as to what to do until the fire department arrives on the scene. Exactly where are you located? Is everyone else safe and out of danger? Yes, you will be provided with pre-arrival instructions as to what to do until the fire department arrives on the scene. If it is a medical emergency, these questions are usually asked. What is the address of the emergency? What is the telephone number you are calling from? What is the problem? Tell me exactly what happened. Are you with the patient now? How many people are hurt? This question is asked when reporting traffic transportation accident with multiple victims. If a choking patient, are they choking now? You need to go check and tell me what you find. How old are they? Unsure. You will be asked to tell how old they are approximately. Are they conscious? Yes, no. You will be provided with pre-arrival emergency medical dispatch instructions via the telephone until rescue arrives on the scene. Education. One of the scenarios you can encounter as an interpreter with Propio could be a parent-teacher conference or an IEP meeting with multiple people present. Here are a few tips to keep in mind to have the session go smoothly and effectively. Be clear about your role and the expectations. Explain that everything that is said is confidential, but that the interpreter will interpret everything that is said. Remember, you are in control of the flow. It is okay and necessary to remind all the participants to take turns speaking and speak slower if needed. Feel free to ask for explanations, clarifications, or repetitions if there is any complex terminology used. Technical terms in English don't exist in many languages. Something said in one word in English might take many words in other languages, and vice versa. The interpreter must know how to take notes effectively. However, do not let the speaker give you long segments. You should ask to keep them short for accuracy and quality of your renditions. Use other intervention techniques when needed to repeat or clarify. If something needs to be repeated or if clarification is needed, make sure to keep each party in the loop. Knowing and following the protocol will help you.
Language is our bridge to understanding and connection. It is also important we all understand the power of language and the specific terminology used regarding the LGBTQIA+ community. Issues of equality and acceptance for members of this community have consistently been emphasized politically within the United States and abroad. That said, it is important that we, as interpreters, facilitate a safe, affirming, and neutral space for conversations to take place. Now, let's take the time to get to know some useful terms and common definitions to help you better serve all individuals you might encounter who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community. Sex refers to a person's biological status and is typically assigned at birth, usually on the basis of external anatomy. Sex is typically categorized as male, female, or intersex. Sexual orientation refers to the enduring physical, romantic, and/or emotional attraction to members of the same and/or other genders, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, and straight orientations. It is important to note that sexual orientation is separate from gender identity. Gender is often defined as a social construct of norms, behaviors, and roles that varies between societies and over time. Gender is often categorized as male, female, or non-binary. Gender expression is how a person presents gender outwardly through behavior, clothing, voice, or other perceived characteristics. Society identifies these cues as masculine or feminine, although what is considered masculine or feminine changes over time and varies by culture. Gender identity is one's own internal sense of self and their gender, whether that is man, woman, neither, or both. Unlike gender expression, gender identity is not outwardly visible to others. For transgender people, gender identity differs in varying degrees from the sex assigned at birth. Transgender, or simply trans, is an adjective used to describe someone whose gender identity differs from the sex assigned at birth. A transgender man, for example, is someone who is listed as female at birth, but whose gender identity is male. Cisgender is an adjective that describes a person whose gender identity aligns with the sex they were assigned at birth. Non-binary is a term that can be used by people who do not describe themselves or their genders as fitting into the categories of man or woman. A range of terms are used to refer to these experiences. Non-binary and genderqueer are among the terms that are sometimes used. Agender is an adjective that can describe a person who does not identify as any gender. Asexual, or ace for short, refers to a complete or partial lack of sexual attraction or lack of interest in sexual activity with others. Asexuality exists on a spectrum, and asexual people may experience no, little, or conditional sexual attraction. Same-gender loving is a term some prefer to use instead of lesbian, gay, or bisexual to express attraction to and love of people of the same gender. Intersex is an umbrella term used to describe people with differences in reproductive anatomy, chromosomes, or hormones that don't fit typical definitions of male and female. Being intersex is not the same as being non-binary or transgender, which are terms typically related to gender identity. Queer is a term people often use to express a spectrum of identities and orientations that are counter to the mainstream. Queer is often used as a catch-all for those who do not identify as exclusively straight and/or folks who have non-binary or gender-expansive identities. This term was previously used as a slur, but has been reclaimed by many parts of the LGBTQIA+ movement. Questioning is a term used to describe people who are in the process of exploring their sexual orientation or gender identity. Everyone has pronouns that are used when referring to them. Proper use of gender identity terms, including using a person's correct pronouns, is a critical way to signal courtesy, affirmation, and acceptance. Using someone's correct pronouns is as significant as pronouncing their name properly. Never assume a person's pronouns. Remember, how a person presents gender outwardly, or their gender expression, doesn't always align to one's gender identity. Therefore, one can never determine a person's gender identity and pronouns based on a person's outward appearance. They is already commonly used as a singular pronoun when we are talking about someone, and we don't know who they are. Now, we use they/them as pronouns to remove gendered language from our vocabulary when referring to someone in the second or third person. If you make a mistake, simply apologize, move on, and do your best to not make the mistake again. Thank you for watching and doing your part to foster a kind and affirming space for conversation.
When addressing either party, please avoid using ma'am or sir. You should address them by their title instead, such as doctor, nurse, judge, etc. It is also acceptable to address the parties by their name. Excellence in customer service. In the field of remote interpreting, providing excellent customer service isn't optional, it's a fundamental responsibility. This principle is rooted in the National Code of Ethics for Interpreters. Even though the work is done remotely, interpreters play a vital role in humanizing communication, especially for individuals with limited English proficiency. Each session is an opportunity to apply ethical standards like accuracy, confidentiality, impartiality, and respect, all while ensuring that the service remains timely, compassionate, and culturally sensitive. The following examples highlight how applying these ethical principles contributes to high-quality customer service during interpreting sessions. High-quality service begins with clear and accurate interpretation. This means listening attentively and avoiding assumptions. Every word must be conveyed faithfully, in the first person, without adding or leaving anything out. If you're unsure about something, ask for clarification, professionally. This commitment to accuracy honors and respects both the client and the LEP individual. Confidentiality isn't optional. It's essential. Always work from a secure, quiet space, and never share or discuss information from your sessions. This protects the privacy of LEP individuals and builds long-term trust, in full alignment with the National Code of Ethics. Creating a confidential and distraction-free space is key to both ethics and professionalism. Choose a dedicated room with a door you can close. Avoid open or shared spaces, and set clear do not disturb expectations with those you live with. A sign on the door or a shared calendar can go a long way in minimizing interruptions. Professionalism requires impartiality. That means avoiding personal opinions and emotional responses. Keep a calm, courteous tone, especially in tense or urgent situations. Your consistency helps both providers and LEP individuals feel supported and respected. Remote settings can blur professional boundaries, so discipline is crucial. Stay within the interpreter role unless you must intervene. If you do, be transparent and always speak in the third person, especially when clarifying, managing turn-taking, or explaining cultural points. Being reliable means more than just showing up. Answer calls quickly, follow protocols, and stay prepared for any subject matter. Proactive behavior keeps the session flowing smoothly and shows your professionalism at every turn. A compassionate tone can make a huge difference. LEP individuals may be navigating unfamiliar environments or systems. Clear, empathetic communication reduces anxiety and reinforces a sense of dignity and inclusion. Cultural sensitivity means more than avoiding offense, it's about truly understanding differences. Recognize and respect the cultural values of all parties to help bridge gaps and support respectful communication. Ongoing learning is part of your responsibility. Stay up to date on terminology, ethical practices, and new industry standards. As a remote interpreter, you represent not just your company, but also the diverse communities you serve. Finally, always keep a solution-focused mindset. Whether it's a technical glitch or a cultural misunderstanding, address issues calmly and proactively. Every call is a chance to reflect your integrity, skill, and commitment to excellence. Focusing on customer service isn't an added bonus. It's an essential part of your role as a professional interpreter. You're not just a language facilitator. You're a key contributor to equitable, respectful, and effective communication for individuals with limited English proficiency. By upholding ethical principles like accuracy, confidentiality, impartiality, and cultural sensitivity, you help build inclusive and respectful spaces across all settings. Every interpreting session is an opportunity to demonstrate professionalism, empathy, and ethical integrity. When you prioritize customer service, you reinforce the highest standards of the profession and make a real difference in the lives of the people you serve. Even when working remotely, the human connection remains powerful and deeply impactful. Remember, your work speaks for itself. Clients have the option to rate their experience after each call, and every session reflects your skill, professionalism, and dedication. By consistently delivering high-quality service, you build trust, enhance your professional reputation, and help create better outcomes for everyone involved. Self-care is important. Here are some suggestions to stay well. Give your ears a break. Yes, you've heard that right, to your ears. If you can move your headset so it does not cover your ears between calls, do it. Having them on your ears all the time increases the production of earwax inside the ear. It also creates sweat, and those same sweat damages the headset itself. In addition, this causes the ear to return to its normal state of picking up sounds naturally, not through the headset, thus avoiding the development of ringing in the ears. Drink water. Although we try to avoid having to go to the bathroom, it is important to stay hydrated. Plain water will always be the best option, but any hot or cold beverage can help. However, because of the constant use of the voice in our work, drinking beverages at room temperature is the best for the throat. In addition, hydration prevents us from losing vitality or having a headache. Hydration also helps us not to develop hemorrhoids due to the accumulation of hours we spend sitting down. Eat. Food equals energy. And although it may not seem like it, we need energy to do our job. The brain must be very active and alert, and if we do not eat, it won't be fully functioning. A protein bar can give you the boost you need until you can eat the next food. You also must watch what you eat. A high-fat meal can make you feel drowsy. Stay entertained. Staying static can make us drowsy or lose our liveliness. When you are between calls, take advantage of that time. Surely you have a pile of papers waiting to be arranged, sorted, or attended to. If not, you can also read a book, check your social networks, or even play a video game on your cell phone that can be paused. A very important point is not to choose something that could be too interesting that could become a distraction, visual or mental, during our calls. Therefore, no conversations, calls or messages, life courses, television, neither series, nor movies. Having the screen on pause is also distracting, or online video games. Create an ideal environment. Furnish and decorate your workspace. Place the coffee maker, fridge, snacks, books, and cell phone charger nearby. Place pictures, ornaments, and things that bring a smile to your face or lift your spirits when you look at them. And as with entertainment, there are also decorations that can be distracting, such as a fish tank or pets in general. Maintain good lighting and ventilation, just make sure there is no noise pollution. Create a place where you enjoy being. Establish boundaries. Clearly define and maintain separate boundaries between your professional and personal. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing exercises to reduce stress and enhance focus. Stay physically active. Integrate regular physical activity into your daily routine. Participating in exercise can greatly improve your mood and energy levels, which are vital for interpreters. Seek support. Connect with fellow interpreters or join support groups. Sharing your experiences can provide emotional relief and offer valuable practical advice. Continuous learning. Allocate time for professional development. Staying informed about industry trends boosts both confidence and job satisfaction. Prioritize rest. Prioritizing sufficient sleep and taking regular breaks during work is essential. Rest is fundamental for maintaining cognitive function and enhancing overall health. Engage in hobbies. Set aside time for hobbies and activities that bring you joy. Engaging in creative pursuits can alleviate stress and enhance your overall well-being.
Let's talk about penalties. It's very important for interpreters to know that the intake questions must be entered properly. You should not leave any intake question blank purposely. Also, make sure that you have the correct spelling when entering this information. If you don't, then you might be penalized. The penalty is of $5 per call. So make sure that you have entered all of the required intake information on your screen, as well as checked spelling if it's required. It's very important for all interpreters to know that they must not stay connected to calls after they've been completed. You must disconnect right after the call finishes. Also, do not try to add extra minutes to your calls by muting yourself and not speaking, pretending to have IT issues. This kind of behavior is called camping on calls and is punished with permanent deactivation of your profile. Propio can see everything on your Propio dashboard, so they can see if you purposely disconnect calls, hang on to calls after they've been completed, or if you mute yourself pretending you lost the call, but still staying on it. So please avoid having your ID turned off. Make sure to disconnect the call as soon as it's been completed. If you have any issues disconnecting the call, please contact IT as soon as possible.
Measured standards. In remote interpreting, upholding high standards during call evaluations is essential. These standards guarantee that interpreters follow ethical guidelines and provide accurate renditions. Evaluations are structured to assess multiple facets of an interpreter's performance, including their impartiality and proficiency in both languages. Measured standards establish a framework for consistent and equitable assessments. Adhering to these guidelines enables organizations to prepare their interpreters to effectively manage a variety of situations. This approach not only improves service quality but also fosters trust among clients who depend on precise and ethical interpretations. Uses Propio's script at opening with client. Collects all required intake information typed correctly. Propio's script at the opening with LEP. Name and ID at sign-off. Direct speech, first-person interpretation. Avoids interrupting and talking over others. Avoids taking over the conversation. Remains unbiased. Uses good intervention techniques. Maintains or changes register if needed. Keeps the source speaker informed of issues that come up during the session. Avoids side conversations. Demonstrates resourcefulness. Proficiency in interpreting words without equivalencies. Good note-taking skills and is organized. Good use of tools and equipment. Mediates cultural differences. Manages the flow of the conversation. Uses related terminology like healthcare, insurance, or finance. Has a friendly tone of voice. Good voice projection. Is courteous and respectful. Has good interpersonal skills. And demonstrates complete, accurate renditions. To learn more in detail about our measured standards, watch this video book under my videos section. This concludes the orientation. Feel free to review any of the topics we've covered before getting started. Good luck, you've got this.
se paró.